Have you ever wondered if someone was flirting with you, but you dismissed it because you thought, at my age, that ship has sailed? What if I told you that one of the biggest misconceptions about aging is the belief that romantic attention fades, that connection, curiosity, and even flirtation don't vanish, they just change shape. And sometimes they show up in ways so quiet, so gentle, that you'd never notice, unless someone told you what to look for. Beyond 60 Wisdom, men chao qui viva kakban. Today, I want to share something that might surprise you, and maybe even shift the way you see your conversations. What if the small talk you thought was just kindness was actually interest? What if a question like, "What do you usually do during the week?" wasn't just casual? What if it was personal, flirtatious even? Let me ask you to keep listening, because what we're about to explore could change how you understand those everyday exchanges. You see, for women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, flirtation rarely comes in the form of a bold compliment or a flirty wink. It's softer now, more thoughtful, and one of the most powerful ways they express interest, it's through the questions they ask. Let's be honest, as we age, we're often told that we become invisible, that no one looks at us that way anymore. But that's just not true. What really happens is the signals become more subtle, and most men miss them. That's not because they're not paying attention, it's because no one ever explained how this quiet dance works later in life. Until now. When a woman asks you something like, "Do you still do any of the things you loved when you were younger?" she's not just making conversation. She's opening a door. She's inviting you to share, to connect, to reveal something about yourself. This kind of curiosity is meaningful. It's not surface level. It's an expression of interest, and yes, even affection. Take a moment and think back. Has anyone ever asked you about your past, your routines, or what brings you joy now? Did it feel like they genuinely wanted to know? Because chances are, that wasn't just friendliness, it was interest, carefully offered in a way that feels safe and respectful. This matters because too many older men write themselves off. They don't see themselves as desirable anymore. But the truth is, women notice you. They see your experience, your steadiness, your stories. And when they ask, "How did you end up living here?" or "What do you like to do in the evenings?" they're not just filling the silence, they're reaching out. And that's powerful. Before we move forward, I want to ask for your support. If this message resonates with you, if you've ever felt unseen or overlooked, please subscribe to Beyond 60 Wisdom. Your support helps us create more meaningful videos like this, videos that shine a light on the beauty, complexity, and truth of life after 60. Now let me leave you with a question to reflect on, and I'd love for you to answer in the comments. If someone asked about your favorite memory from childhood, would you think, A, they're just being polite, B, they're genuinely curious and possibly interested in me? Drop your answer below, A or B, and let's see what you think. Your insights are part of what makes this community so special. Sometimes, what seems like a small, thoughtful favor might carry a deeper message, especially when it comes from a woman in your life. At first glance, it might appear like a kind gesture. Maybe she offers to bring you something from the store or shows up with a fresh batch of cookies just because. But if you take a closer look, you may find it's not just kindness, it's a quiet signal, a way of saying, "You matter to me." Beyond 60 Wisdom, men chao qui viva kakban. Today, we're looking at one of the most overlooked forms of affection, what I like to call the unnecessary favor. It's something many older men miss, not because they aren't paying attention, but because they've been taught to see help as something they shouldn't need. But in truth, accepting help, especially when it's freely offered, can be one of the most intimate things you do. You see, women over 60 often show interest in ways that are subtle, respectful, and thoughtful. Rather than direct flirtation, they may express it by offering to do something for you. This could be as simple as picking up your favorite snack, offering a ride to the doctor, or remembering that you forgot your hat and bringing you one the next day. These actions are not just nice, they're personal. They're chosen specifically with you in mind. Take the story of Tom, a 74-year-old man who volunteered at his local library. A woman named June, who worked at the front desk, would often go out of her way to bring him a warm cup of tea right before his shift started. He always smiled and thanked her, but never thought much of it. That is, until she brought him his favorite type of tea, something he only mentioned once in passing. That's when it clicked for him. June wasn't just being polite. She had been listening. She cared. These favors aren't always grand gestures. In fact, they're rarely about the action itself. They're about presence. They're about stepping quietly into your life in ways that say, I see you. I want to be part of your world. And many times, they are a gentle test to see if you'll welcome her into that space. Why do these gestures matter so much? Because they're grounded in effort. Time, thought, and care go into every small act. And for women who might be hesitant to come out and say, I'm interested, these favors are a safe and socially acceptable way to show it. They don't put her at risk of embarrassment, but they do give you a chance to notice and respond. If you're someone who's always been self-reliant, it might feel strange to accept help. But when a woman offers you a hand, not out of obligation, but out of care, it's not about dependence, it's about connection. It's her way of saying, let me be part of your story. So the next time someone brings you soup when you're under the weather, or remembers the name of your dog from a story weeks ago, pause. Look deeper. You might be witnessing the beginning of something meaningful. And if you're brave enough to acknowledge it, to say thank you with more than just a polite smile, you might just open the door to a relationship that brings warmth, joy, and companionship into this beautiful chapter of your life. There's something quietly powerful about being remembered, especially when it comes from someone you didn't expect. Not in a grand public way, but in the small details. A woman recalling the name of your dog, asking how your grandson's soccer game went, or mentioning something you shared weeks ago. That's not just memory, that's attention. And in many cases, it's affection in disguise. Women, especially over 60, often choose subtlety over showmanship. Instead of offering compliments or overt interest, they'll remember, and they'll bring it up. Not because they're making small talk, but because they care. They're telling you, you matter. I was listening. Beyond 60 Wisdom warmly welcomes you. Today, let's uncover why these seemingly innocent moments of recall are anything but random. They're gentle markers of emotional presence. They're a woman's way of showing that she's tuned into your story and hoping to become a part of it. Take Jerry, for instance, a 71-year-old who joined a walking group at the park. One afternoon, while chatting, he casually mentioned he used to play harmonica in his youth. 2 weeks later, a woman from the group, Claire, handed him a flyer for a local jazz night. Thought this might bring back good memories, she said. Jerry was stunned. He had forgotten the comment, but Claire hadn't. It was her way of connecting through something personal, something real. This kind of memory isn't just about information, it's about emotional resonance. Psychologically, we don't hold on to things that don't matter. So when a woman remembers the story you told her once or the coffee you prefer, it's not just nice, it's meaningful. And here's where many older men miss the cue. We often see memory as something passive, but in relationships, memory is action, it's effort. And for a woman to recall those little things, especially things that touch your heart, that's her way of showing, not telling, how she feels. We live in a time where bold declarations are rare, especially later in life. People tend to guard their emotions more closely. But subtle actions like remembering details about someone's life, that's where true connection often begins. It's a way to say, you're not invisible to me. I see you, I hear you, and I want to keep knowing you. So next time a woman remembers something you didn't expect her to, stop and think. It might be more than kindness. It might be a quiet whisper of affection, a nudge, an invitation. And if you meet her halfway, with a story, a smile, or even your own small memory, you might just find a beautiful rhythm of connection waiting to unfold. Some gestures are louder in silence than in speech, and among them, few are as revealing as a quiet favor, a ride offered when you didn't ask, a homemade pie just because, a sun hat brought on a warm day because she noticed you never wear one. These moments seem simple, but they often carry a deeper message. I care. I'm watching. I want to be part of your life. Welcome back to Beyond 60 Wisdom, where we explore the deeper layers of connection in the later chapters of life. Today, let's talk about the quiet power of the unnecessary favor, a form of affection and interest that many men overlook. Women, especially those raised in more traditional times, may not express attraction directly. They don't often say, "I like you." Instead, they show up, they give, they notice what you need before you even know you need it, and offer something meaningful. This isn't about obligation or being nice, it's intentional care. Consider Jim, 69, who attends a community bingo night every Thursday. For months, a woman named Marcia would bring him his favorite tea, just the way he liked it. 2 sugars, no milk. She'd laugh it off as a coincidence, but Jim began to realize she never brought tea for anyone else. One evening, she offered him a ride home just in case it got cold. That's when it clicked. Her gestures weren't random, they were relational. This kind of behavior taps into something psychologists call the Ben Franklin effect. When someone does something for you, especially voluntarily, it deepens their emotional investment. And in reverse, when a woman likes you, she'll often seek opportunities to do something for you, to create closeness through service. But here's the challenge. Many men over 60 have been taught to value self-reliance. "I don't want to be a burden" is a common refrain. Yet refusing help can sometimes close the door on a subtle invitation to connection. These gestures aren't about neediness, they're about mutual warmth and shared experience. So the next time a woman goes out of her way to bring you something, help with a task, or offer support, don't brush it off. Take a moment, look closer. There may be more behind her kindness than meets the eye. She's not just helping, she's reaching out. And now we arrive at something truly transformative, what I call the final, quiet revelation. It's not a question, not a favor, not even a compliment. It's a pattern, a presence, a shift in how you see yourself in the world and how others may already be seeing you. You see, growing older doesn't mean fading into the background. In fact, many of the most subtle yet powerful forms of attraction begin later in life, when the loudness of youth gives way to the elegance of understanding. Women don't always show interest the way they used to. They don't flirt like they're in their 20s. Instead, they offer their attention in whispers, through questions laced with curiosity, through teasing remarks, through thoughtful acts of care, and through the memories they choose to hold on to. Here at Beyond 60 Wisdom, we believe the second half of life holds some of the richest, most meaningful experiences we've ever known. But it all begins with awareness, noticing the signals, understanding their weight, letting go of the idea that you've been forgotten or passed over. Because you haven't. You're still seen, still valued, and often still admired, whether you realize it or not. Think back for a moment. Has someone lingered in conversation longer than expected? Asked you about a detail from weeks ago? Offered to help without being asked? Or complimented your character, not your looks? These aren't accidents. They're quiet invitations. And the truth is, most older men miss them, not because they aren't intelligent or caring, but because they were never taught to recognize this new language of connection, a language built on kindness, curiosity, and emotional depth, a language that says, "You still matter, and I want to know you better." So what do you do with this new knowledge? You stay open, you stay kind, and above all, you stay present. Because sometimes, what looks like a simple gesture is actually the start of something beautiful. And maybe, just maybe, that next question, that next cup of coffee, or that next smile across the room is your moment to step into connection again. If what you've heard today has sparked something inside you, maybe a memory, a realization, or even just a warm feeling you haven't felt in a while, we'd love to have you with us on this journey. Here at Beyond 60 Wisdom, we're not just making videos, we're building a space where experience is honored, voices are heard, and stories still matter. If today's message gave you a new way of seeing things or simply made you feel a little less alone, consider subscribing to our channel. It's a small action, but it gives us great encouragement to keep creating content that speaks directly to your heart. We also invite you to leave a comment below. Tell us what resonated with you most, share a personal story, or simply let us know you're here. We read every word, and your thoughts truly help us shape future videos to serve you better. And if you'd like more conversations like this, gentle, honest, and meaningful, stick around. There's so much more to explore, and we'd be honored to share that time with you. Let's continue walking this road together, one story, one insight and one moment at a time.